So, guys, welcome back to this week's episode of the JBK podcast. We are unfortunately a member down today due to one of our esteemed hosts having work, but we do have the substitute, the B level, and it is Kia McCarthy.
Toss
Wrong one. There we go. No, massive shout out to all you guys coming back. We've got to do the sponsors first, Kia lad. I know you're a bit rusty in that, but we've got to do the sponsors first. Massive shout out to all you guys listening on Spotify. Massive shout out to all you guys that are live watching with us on Facebook at the moment. Got to give a massive shout out to all our sponsors. We've got Lakeside Fire and Security. We do have Northwest Plumbing and Heating. We also have TNT Records. And finally, and last but not least, we do have Transform Physiques Fitness. Gym, my mistake. But yeah, like I say, a massive shout out to you guys for sponsoring every single episode of our podcast. C minus at best. Cheers, Josh. He's already in. But yeah, massive shout out to all you guys. Massive shout out to all you viewers coming back to this week's episode of the JBK podcast. We were supposed to be at the 9th, but what we're doing is we're allowing them a bit more time to try and get the room ready. So we have been in there the past few episodes, but it's still a bit under construction. Some of the walls are finished, but it's a dust heaven, and we've just obviously invested in quite a lot of new equipment. So the last thing we want to be doing is basically ruining any of that with any potential dust collection or any of that. So we're just giving them a bit more time. But Kia,
Yes, mate.
how have you been? What's been going on?
All right, mate. Yeah. Birthday Saturday just gone. Had a really good day, to be honest, with little man. Took him up to Ford Park in Ulverston.
What was the magic number? How old now?
28, mate. Now.
The big 2-8. And I'm the big 2-9 in 18 days myself. But yeah, we do have some live comments from Facebook. It is, what's up, fellas? Would love to stay, but got to shoot off to boxing training, have a belter. Cheers, Mol. Like I say, much appreciated for coming back. And a quick question, Mol. How come you started doing complete boxing training and not the gym? I thought you were at the gym, but yeah, no problem. Josh Archer, C minus at best. I mean, do we even really address that?
He's just selfish anyway because he's gone away to work.
I know. I just think going to earn a better living for yourself and you sack the one thing off that we all do once a week for an hour.
Tosser.
Senior, Lady Earls. Lady Earls. Mol, don't go. Dad, you are literally the most annoying person on the face of the planet. I love you dearly, but my God, you don't have to wind me up. Josh, had hard paper on you, kid.
It was milk round, actually, mate. It was horrendous.
How bad were milk rounds, though?
They were horrible.
Oh, my God. I think I did it for a week and quit. Literally, I think I did it for a week and quit. M is back once again. It's been a long time, actually. M's always caught the back end of the podcast recently. Hi, lads. Cheers, M, for coming back. Massive shout out to you. Dad, replace Josh with Mol. Wait there. None of them. That was it. So I don't think anyone on Spotify can hear that.
Probably not, mate.
Or maybe they can. Or maybe it's Facebook that can't hear.
I don't think Facebook can hear it, but I know Spotify can hear it because obviously it's recorded, isn't it?
Ouch, Tony Coleman. Hope you had a shit birthday now. You're only 11 days too late, mate. I think his birthday was on there first. And God, so this is all basically, guys, for those of you that will be listening on Spotify, is our Facebook Live comments are going a bit mad at the moment. So we've got my dad chanting mol, 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 mol. Usually he comes in for 5 minutes, causes carnage and leaves like a mic drop.
Usually calls us lesbians and then does one.
Josh, we couldn't hear it. No, I didn't think Facebook could hear it, so you were right, mate.
Yeah,
Facebook.
Spotify.
So this week's episode is just a random one, guys. So for any of you in the comment section or watching, or like I say, live on Facebook, for those of you on Spotify, you'll probably have to hear us mention the question first, and obviously message us on the page if you do have any questions for us. Frida Lesbian too. I mean, wow. The thing is, I know exactly. Do you know the part that annoys me?
What?
Do you know the part that annoys me the most is he sat there doing this, laughing his head off because he knows. And Mol, we do have one last one from Mol. When we're gonna get you two in the gym? You've sacked the gym off, mate. You're not even a member anymore.
Which two is he on about?
Me and you, I think.
I'm already in the gym.
Yeah, I've heard that you've already sacked it off. But ladies and gents, we do have the third host. He has returned via video call. I've just accepted him in. Tempted to reject. Tempted.
Do you mean voice
was.
call?
What did I say?
Video call.
Well, he is watching us through video, isn't he? He's just called in.
But it's not video call.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Right, let's mute that.
I'm ringing in because I just want to ask one question to you both, and I'll go back to just watching and let you run it smoothly. But I want Kia to answer it first.
Go on then.
So obviously we've been doing this podcast quite a while now,
Yeah.
and it's all about mental health, etc. Helping everyone else, helping ourselves, progressing, getting better, improving.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, what do you believe within yourself that this podcast has done for you personally on a level of maturity, mental health within yourself, and also the easiness to share a problem rather than bottling it up?
Well, obviously, you and Ben have known me for however long.
I'll leave you there, boys. I'll carry on watching you on the video, all right?
Right, okay. So, yeah.
Cheers for the question, Josh.
Yeah. So, going off that, obviously, I've known like you and Josh for 20 plus years, give or take. Been good mates with you for all of them.
Too long.
Well, yeah.
Too long.
So obviously, when you started this podcast, Men's Mental Health, obviously, we spoke about ourselves quite a lot on it, and that's helped me open up quite a lot.
Yeah.
And release some of the strain that I've held on myself. And, obviously, with previous events that have gone on with me,
Yeah.
they've come, like, obviously, you've come around and made sure I was all right and everything's fine. Same as Josh. It's made me realise now not to bottle it up, but to at least speak to somebody, even if you don't speak about everything, at least speak about some of the things.
Yeah, well, I think Stereo kicked this all off, ideally with us in general. The amount of times that we had calls over, like I say, when it was full lockdown and we couldn't get out the house and we had those 3-4 hour Stereo calls about everything, personal, private, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that we do have another. Well, firstly, I just want to quickly say on that. One, you should give yourself a tremendous amount of credit because it takes a big man and it takes a lot of balls. Hence the the euphemism, so to speak. It does take a lot of balls, not necessarily just for men, but it takes a lot to sometimes bare yourself in front of the public, as in make yourself seem like, you're completely naked. And I don't mean as in visually, I mean generally, as in that you feel open or, it does take a lot. And it is something that over time, I think we have all improved on. Question, best birthday. I don't know what that's regarding. Can you explain a bit more, Dad? But my dad Tony has also said it's improved you guys in loads of ways. Much appreciated, senior.
Always appreciated.
Well, we always try, don't we? We always try and improve every episode
Yeah.
because it's not always going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. That is just a part of life. It's just one of those things that just genuinely tends to happen. And myself included, I probably make some of the more public ones, as in saying things that we shouldn't. But mine's only because I just sometimes feel like there's no other way to explain it than just say it.
Yeah.
You can beat around the bush as much as you want, but sometimes you just need to come out and say it. But it has got us in trouble in the past, and some of us, like I say, but I'm proud of us.
It's one of them, innit? You live and learn. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has a slip up every now and again. Do you know what I mean? It's, no one's perfect. Do you know what I mean?
We all try and strive for as much perfection as possible. Right, yeah, that makes that right. Now I get it. So for those of you on Spotify, we did ask for questions, and we have had one off Josh, who is a not regular well, he's usually one of the co-hosts, but unfortunately he's had to be away for work. We have also had a comment from my dad on Facebook. Kieran Bates, yes, lad. Much appreciated for coming to the stream, Kieran, or live stream, sorry, and coming back to the podcast. For those of you that are wondering, Kieran is one of our sponsors at Lakeside Fire and Security. Make sure you go and check or actually give him a phone, and then he can explain what he can do for your home. But my dad has asked, so what's your best birthday memories? And you know what, I'm going to let you go first.
To be fair, mate, birthday that I've just had. They spent the whole weekend with Harrison. Some people might look at that and say, "Oh, well, you only spent like the weekend with your son," but I took him to Ford Park, and obviously you've seen the pictures that I've put on, and how excited he was because we weren't in Barrow. We've gone away, just only Ulverston, but he was absolutely buzzing.
But that's the thing for kids, though. It's an adventure, innit? It's a difference. It's something different. It's out the norm, and people might sit and go, "Oh, well, it's only taking your kid to the park." But think of how many birthdays you might only have left.
Exactly.
Anything could happen, right? That could have been this just gone. Could be your last ever birthday.
Potentially.
It could be with the same as with any of us. So
Oh, yeah.
some people may understand you, and some people may not. But if that's your best birthday memory, then
But it's like that, though. A lot of people who probably look and think on that, they don't have kids. So they won't understand it.
yet.
Well, yeah, that's
So
what I
some
mean.
people, like I say, myself included, I get it because all I ever wanted growing up was that.
Exactly.
Which is, like I say, one of my best birthday memories. Oh, it's a tough one. I've got a few. That's a good one.
I thought yours would have been when we all went out.
Which time?
We all got absolutely ratted, and you ended up shitting your pants.
Oh yeah. Oh mate. Oh my God, you've reminded. Oh Christ. Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm now gonna have to explain that. Cheers, mate. So we're in the business of dropping people in the shit. Are we literally? Oh, we in that.
That just came to my head, mate.
Yeah.
'cause
Cheers, mate. My dad's only watching. Thank God, my granddad isn't either. But yeah. Anyway, so my personal favourite birthday memory was my 18th, as I was on a rugby away day in fancy dress. Now, for me,
I remember that.
I've never done any sort of fancy dress because it's my pet hate. But yeah, I'll quickly explain the shit in the pants story for all you that are actually interested. So we'd basically been drinking all day. It's from when I mean all day.
We were in Ulverston, were we?
I think so, yeah. So we just went. I think we went to Ulverston, but we started at like 11 in the morning. Went straight to the pub and then moved back to Barrow. I drunk myself numb. And that's exactly what it was because it's only ever happened one other time where I've been numb. Not shit me pants, but I've been numb to the point where I've peed the bed.
Where were you living? Were you living here?
No.
No. Well, where was it?
Rollinson Street.
Oh yeah, shit.
So there was one year where there was two times actually. I'll explain them both. So one of the times after that when I drunk myself numb.
You were living here, were you? Or were you living at Beth's?
We were living at Beth's mum's, and I never do this. I'm never sick after a night out. I'm never, I'm sort of like my dad. We can, it takes a lot for us to get really, really drunk to the point where we don't eat food or you end up, not being able to sleep or whatever. But I'm very similar. Like we get loads of food, eat barely any, and then go straight to sleep. This one night I'd got in, can't really remember getting in, and I think it was pub golf or something, or whatever it was. Walked home to her mum's house, which took me about an hour. Woke up in the morning, not knowing anything, and her mum, basically Beth said through the night she felt a warmth on her back. And just to paint a picture for those of you that are on Spotify, as most of us do, I don't sleep with any clothes on at all. I'm complete commando all the way through.
I've got vivid memories of that.
So I'd fell asleep.
From when we went to Burnley.
Yeah, I'd fell asleep. As you know, I don't sleep with any clothes on. Doesn't matter where we go unless it's on holiday. But even sometimes then, I'll just wrap the cover around me like what's it called? A toga. Like that. But yeah, and basically, I'd drunk myself numb to the point where I was that KO'd asleep, and I'd never done this previous. I'd peed all my bladder. Like, it must have covered the entire double bed, and I peed up her back, and I woke up in it, right? And her man was like, "What the have you done last night?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, completely clueless at this point. Still didn't know. I was just like...
You probably still are pissed when you woke up.
No, I wasn't. I was just sweating. I was like having the beer sweat. So what had happened was I'd woke up, I'd had the beer sweat with like in bed. So that's what I thought that why my back was wet was because I was sweating, which I was. Rolled up out of bed, there was a huge water stain, literally from top to bottom of the bed, and it was my piss. And
surprised it wasn't like bright yellow.
No, it was, your pee goes like a darker, wasn't it? Because I was dehydrated as well. But her man woke up and I've never done it since. It had never happened before. That was the only other time I'd peed ever. The time you're on about where I shit me pants, I drunk myself. That was worse because I drunk myself numb. Don't even remember risking a fart, and I didn't even lay like a tiny nugget. I'd laid a full log in my pants. It wasn't even like
King Kong finger.
yeah, it was King Kong's finger. It wasn't even a case of like I'd laid a little pellet or I'd laid a bit of a liquidy one. I'd laid a full King Kong's finger in my pants. And literally I got that pissed, my pants fell down and the shit fell out. And that is yeah, exactly. Shame gravy. It wasn't even that. It was solid matter. It was literally, like I said, it was a bar of Whisper Gold. It like laid in me pants. It was a ghosty. There was no shit there.
When you told me, I thought you'd just been stashing Mars bars down your kegs.
No, I'd literally, basically my pants fell down my ankles going home to Rawlinson Street, and then the shit fell out my pants and hit the floor.
I'm pretty sure that night as well, on the way out, because you said, I'm just going to get some fresh air, and I was like a couple of people behind you. I'm pretty sure you slipped down Manhattan stairs.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah.
That's probably what numbed my bowels, probably what numbed my ass. I probably brought me coccyx and I couldn't feel anything below, but that is honestly, that is the only two times I've ever done anything like that. But you see, I think I've only ever been sick once, ever, on a night out. Me and Dad's punished me a few times on the beer. Especially, I remember, my 18th birthday, I remember. I had a red Lambretta t-shirt on, right? I had a red Lambretta t-shirt on, and this was at the time where we'd been drinking round our house and all the rest of it, thinking, and my dad was up, so I'd met him in the Robin Hood, right, where it all started for me. 18th birthday. We'd all been drinking, like from 16 upwards, like house parties and stuff like that. So I thought, oh,
Parker's
yeah.
Field.
Oh, I can drink forever, on the VS or the VHS.
Or your cheap shitty cider.
Yeah. Dad went, right, well, we'll come out. Me and I think it was me and your granddad or somebody anyway. But Dad was there in the pub and he got me on the, but he was buying me lager because I didn't drink Guinness at that point. And he went, oh, what do you want? I'll have a Carlin. 7 Carlins in, I was stumped, head down, like this.
I'm not surprised, mate. It's like drinking piss.
On the bar. Dad went, I thought you could drink, and I was like, no, absolutely levered off my head. He carried me home at that point, because he could back then, because I was a anorexic. He carried me home and went to my mum, there's our son, bye. He just shut me in the door. This is when I was living on Rawlinson Street. He walked me down from the Robin, chucked me in the door, and just said, there's our son. No, I'm lying. He chucked me in the door, I fell over, he picked me up and put me in bed, and went, there's our son, and walked down and went back to the pub. Messaged me in the morning saying round 2, and I went, fuck off. I fuck right off. And
yeah, nowadays, if you said that to you, but yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah, see you down there. It's me that wants round 2, and it's him that doesn't now. But no, honestly, I'd probably say that's probably one of my best family memories, my best mate memories. You make loads of them on your birthdays, don't you? My best one's probably going to be this year. Dad's up, family, all the family's up from London. Don't get me wrong, all the family might not be in the pub on the Friday. Oh, no, yeah, we will do. So it's my birthday on the Friday. I'm finishing, I think, at 11 anyway. I might even finish at 10. Go and get a chop.
Well, I've already looked into it.
Yeah, straight.
Finish at 12:30 on that Friday.
Straight into the Robin. Sitting there until 6:30 when we've got a meal and there's 8 of us, I think 8 or 9 of us or something like that. Then after that, I don't know whether it's straight back to the Robin or it's going on, but that to me will probably be one of the best ones in recent, and it's the last birthday before I have a son. So I'm like,
yeah,
it's just going to be like I don't know, it's just going to be like a good family occasion. I like it when all of us are together or as many of us as possible. Because, like I said, it is like a rarity between us. Because
it's far and few between, isn't it, nowadays, with like getting all your family together.
Well, that's the issue, mate. It's with obviously Dad and Anita and all the rest of the family down there living 300 miles away. It's not as if and you are paying. Take a bit of nourishment there just to compose myself.
You're giving him a mini heart attack then, Tony.
I'm paying for what?
Everything.
It's fine. You have to give me my birthday money first. Might have to do a collection first off the fam.
What? Pull a hat out and just put it all in there.
Yeah, they just do it. What do you mean, Dad? I'm paying. Just took a car out, skin toe. Actually, I'm as well. Literally skin toe and buying loads of baby stuff. And Dad's tight as a hen's face. No, it's when I've got it, I'll spend it. If I don't have it, I don't have it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I'm coming then.
How was Josh said? Does it come through late?
He's just put, I'm coming then. Because obviously your dad said that you were paying.
Right. It's not come up on the PC that he's even typed that yet.
Josh has put another comment in. I don't know if you can see it on there, saying, I've got a nice scarf from an away day.
Yeah, I can see it. So what's the scarf?
That's because, obviously, you've seen the picture, haven't you, of me in a fucking like granny dress. Because what we had to do was, we all got like 20 quid.
Sorry, guys, for those of you that are listening on Spotify, are probably, because you're not live listening to comments live from Facebook. No, it's a tight knit thing, Dad.
If you do listen to us on Spotify, you obviously know who Moll is. So Tony, Ben's dad's turned around and said, "Can Moll come?"
I keep waiting for when this whole free Moll or justice for Moll thing's going to stop.
I'm waiting for your dad to set a Facebook page up.
Kieran Bates, I love steroids. Oh, a bit random. Moll, be a party mug. Tony, can I lend a £5? I'm just Kent. Is that what it says?
No, obviously going back to that.
How can we go back to that when they've gone in like this? How on earth can we stay focused when the comments are like that? When Kieran and Josh are sat in the same room, probably both in a pair of boxer shorts, thinking, I know, let's make this hilarious.
Probably.
My dad's doing the same thing at his house, just sat there watching us thinking, how can I make this hilarious and try and put them off as much as possible?
Your dad's probably got a fucking pint of Guinness in his hand.
No, he'll be on the vodka readies at home. Don't do Guinness unless it's out of a tap, same as me.
No,
He drinks it right. As if. How dare you, Keir McCarthy? How dare you, Keir McCarthy? How dare you?
How am I meant to know? He could have Guinness on tap at home.
No, he doesn't have a barrel put in his out. He would, but it's not. It's just not the point. It's a vodka and a soda or a Red Bull or whatever, a vodka Red Bull or whatever. At least your dad's probably in the jacuzzi. Oh yeah, shock. Well, he's supposed to be in Mexico, to be fair, which I actually feel quite bad at. So, for those of you that are unaware, unfortunately, my stepmother has developed vertigo. And as we are aware, vertigo is horrendous. Vertigo is absolutely horrendous. I don't know if any of you are unaware, but you basically just feel like you're off balance from like regular. So, unfortunately, they have had to cancel the holiday. So, Dad is probably a bit happier the fact that he does have a jacuzzi outside so they can replicate being in a pool. But what he used to do is every holiday, even if it was stupid o'clock at night, he would FaceTime me first thing in the morning, knowing what time I go into work. I would answer it and he'd be there with a cocktail in hand in a hot tub or on a beach or whatever going, all right, son. I'd be like, Dad, what do you want? He'd go, oh no, just checking if you got to work okay and just checking if you're all right. I'm like, Dad, no, you're not. You sat there trying to piss me off because you're halfway around the world on holiday and I'm sat in work. And he's like, oh, well, okay, I'll leave you to it, son. Just checking in. Love you. Bye. Bye. There his cocktail in hand, all a beer in hand. But, oh, mate.
Yeah, going back to what Josh said about that scar.
Yeah.
That rugby away day we had, I think it was like Wickton.
Where's the scar?
On my back. And basically, obviously, we all got like 15, 20 quid. We had to pick a name out of a hat. They meant to spend that amount of money on whoever's name we got in a charity shop and buying an outfit.
I can see where this is going.
And obviously, Travs ended up with a fucking horse whip, didn't he? They were whipping everybody, and Josh took it off him and slapped me right across the back with it.
Oh, it was Josh that gave you it.
As well as Travs.
See you later, senior. We'll try. We'll try and keep up the great work. I mean, well, we do try, don't we? But
always
a horse whip. Wow. Was it a whip?
Cool whip.
Was it a cool whip?
It was fucking horrible.
I can imagine. I mean, have you ever had your dad or your mum slap you across the back of the legs with just hands?
No, I've had my granddad slap me across the back of the legs with a belt.
Right, so that whip's probably 20 times worse, and also your granddad probably held back slightly.
Probably.
Oh, God, I can't think of anything worse, if I'm being completely honest with you. Kaylee Dawson, how are you doing? And how is the boy? How is the entrepreneur? Tell us. We need to know.
I hope he's still grafting, even though he's in school.
McKinley, I need to get my car washed. McKinley. I say we riot. Oh, by the way, Kaylee, unfortunately, my contact now does not work at the paper, so I cannot at the moment get him anything in the evening mail. I messaged her, I think it was straight after the podcast or the day after, and she's let me know basically that she doesn't work there anymore. Keep up the graft, Tony Coleman. See you next time. He doesn't fucking get your tongue out his ass, Josh. He don't graft at all. He's fucking flukes it all, clearly.
I think Josh has took his Xbox away with him because he's just
Yeah.
popped up saying he's online.
Yeah, he has. He told me he was going to. Christian Callister, hope you's. Oh, Cali Lane. How are we doing? We are well, mate. How are you doing? More importantly, what's crack-a-lacking? The boy's good. Being a bit quiet this weekend, but he's wanting to get a few in this weekend. What? I might be working. I'll have to drop him a message. I know he said he was having a day off for the football, wasn't he? And I was actually going to come then, but I ended up just leaving it because, like I said, I didn't want to bother him when he was. Oh, it might have been the day that he was relaxing after. I think he was relaxing one of the days, wasn't he? Something like that. He put on his page, but yeah, it was one of the two. Yeah, Dawson. Yeah, no problem at all. Like I say, I've tried at the moment. Doesn't mean that I've completely give up because we could potentially connect him with our contact at BBC Radio.
Could have a look into it, yeah.
So, not just that as well, what I can do is I've got the email address of a guy that came and interviewed me and Josh, because I don't think Kia was available at the time. I think he was working. We had a guy come round from the BBC Radio Northwest and interview us, and we're still waiting for it to go live. I don't know what's taking its time, but I know he does about 6 other jobs. So we could potentially have a chat with him and see what's what. Josh, I can book in Saturday. We'll sort that shortly. Sweet. Yeah, he's back to it this weekend. No, he appreciates all. No, I know he does, but it's the way I see it is you've got to help. You've got to give back. And in a small town, if you don't, the town will be basically, it'll be doomed for failure. Well, you've got to give back. I mean, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's not just a case of, oh, well, we'll share his page on Facebook. Sometimes people, have connections and just don't do anything about it. So for us, if we can help in any way possible, it even gains him an extra £3 a week or £3 even overall in his pocket. It's good to sort of promote the youth wanting to work, really. And that's what we're all, like I say, that's what we're about. We're about promoting the youth. We're about not just men's mental health. I know kids struggle nowadays with social media and the online potential bullying, and parents struggle trying to sort of monetize it and monitor it. So
You can't monitor it though.
no, but if we can help, as in
yeah.
potentially get him out there so he's known by more people, so then, when you have a bit of a bigger platform, you usually tend to sort of sometimes avoid that. You tend to be like almost become big as a profile, and then people sort of tend to either idolize you or look away. But the way we look at it is he's trying to start a business, same as we wanted to start this. So why wouldn't we help him? Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, exactly.
Exactly. So Moll is stronger than Kia, and Kia wasn't invited. So I'm guessing Josh means Kia wasn't invited when we had the interview.
No, I couldn't attend because I had personal reasons.
And then Kieran, Moll is stronger than Kia.
Good for him.
Oh, I'm surprised you admitted that. I'd have just blatantly lied just for the Spotify bit.
I'm not bothered, mate. To be honest, I've only been back at the gym 2 weeks.
But it's weird though, because I could go back and I'd be stronger than all of them. Why is that? Do you know why that is? Because he called me Big Benji Coleman, like a Ronnie.
No, do you know why it is?
Ronnie's descendant.
Do you know why it is?
I'm a big
He's
tasty
a big tasty.
with bacon and cheese and fucking curly fries on the side. Hashtag BJ's BBC airtime. Why do you have to say BJ's? JB. Oh my God, Justin Bieber. JB. It's JB. My friends say I'm a fool to think. I guess I'm just a sucker for love.
Jesus Christ.
Because honestly, the truth is that. Oh, so wish Facebook could hear that as well. Sometimes it can, though, can't they?
Yeah. I'd just like to put out there as well, guys. Monday, the 19th, we won't be doing a podcast in respect for the Queen's funeral.
Okay, I met
You know, it's one of them. Obviously, we all agreed as a trio that we're not going to do it.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
I'm done.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, honestly, so we just thought I'd let you know now. So yeah, back to you, Ben Squee.
Right. So, guys, for that pathetic attempt to basically announce it. So, the 19th for Monday next week, we basically all came to the conclusion that we don't think it's going to be right for us to air the podcast due to pretty much, I think everything will be shut that Monday anyway, works included. I think it's.
I don't know about that.
I don't know what happens when obviously it's the first time in our life that the Queen sort of, you know, the Queen's died. It'll be the first time in our lifetime that something obviously and the last that we'll have a Queen like that could reign for that long. So I don't know what's happening with work, but all sports obviously were cancelled this weekend, just gone. So out of respect, we thought with it being an actual funeral day, and it was actually Josh's. This was completely Josh's idea as well, not sort of like a credit basis, but you know, it was Josh's idea, and it was actually a belter because I think it'd have been massively disrespectful from us here at the JBK podcast to go live on her actual funeral day. So I think it's probably
Not just that though. I know fine well if we went live, we could potentially get some hate comments. Do you know what I mean?
well, I don't even think it'd have just been hate. It potentially caused a bit of a storm, and then it doesn't just affect us; it affects everybody associated with the
Nah,
podcast,
exactly.
and whether that's the viewers or whether that's the sponsors or whether that's the venue that we're at or whether that's us in general or personal, whether that's partners of us or whatever. So for us,
I mean, we could do it on Sunday.
well, this is something that I think we're going to discuss because we could move the date. So what we're going to do is basically just out of respect at the moment, Monday next week is off. It doesn't mean that we maybe won't fit one in somewhere else, but we will be discussing that soon. We just didn't want to leave you guys out the loop because I know some of you guys do look forward to the podcast every week. So the last thing we wanted to do for you is basically lead you on and still thinking that we're going to go live and then basically ended up not doing it and you just sat around waiting going, you know, why aren't they live, etc., etc. So just out of respect for the Queen and the royal family and, you know, everything else in the country as it stands, because I'm almost sure everybody will want to watch the telly all day, if not to find out her story, because I'm interested in it. I know Josh has said he is. And it'll be something that if I'm not watching the actual funeral, you know, we won't be doing much anyway, just out of pure respect for her. But yeah, us here at the podcast will not be going live next week. Like I say, I also think if we're calling a spade, I just think it's if we were to go live, like you said, it's just putting us up for fire for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you're a supporter of the English royal family or not, I don't think any normal person can't be moved by the death of the Queen. Ideally, I think we'll talk about it after the funeral's gone. I think it's going to be. I think once again, it's potentially a bit disrespectful to sort of talk about it now when she's not even had a funeral yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, just letting you guys know that are live and on Spotify that next week the episode may not be on a Monday. It might be a Sunday. It could be a Tuesday. But if you go onto our socials on Facebook and potentially TikTok, I think I might put a video out when we know the date. We will be announcing on there the time and day that we will be going live. Kieran Bates has commented saying, "I'm the king now."
Of what?
I mean, you are the king of your own business, mate, and he does sponsor the JBK podcast. He is from Lakeside Fire and Security. Make sure you check him out, guys. Any single electrical security footage, camera, electrics, just anything. Go check him out. If that isn't the best promo you've ever heard, I don't know what is. I'm born for this.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
What?
That wacky inflatable tube guy or Family Guy.
We down at Al's Emporium, a wacky inflatable tube man. Coming to you. Due to an overstocking at the suppliers, we now have thousands of wacky inflatable tube men coming to us. That guy. Yeah, so, yeah, Matt, like I say, we also do fire systems, yeah, so you can stop your house being burnt or setting on fire. That's always a bonus. I mean, we might need one soon. The amount of wax burners that my missus burns in the house, it's just tempting fate, really. Fire system. And also, I think as well, I think this offer still is on. If you do buy any purchase, I think, from Kieran at Lakeside Fire and Security, if you quote JBK10, I think that's still active. You do get 10% off your entire order.
I'm just waiting for him to put in the comments now. No, it's not. It's gone.
And then he sends it to us. But no, we agreed this with Kieran at the start just to sort of help you guys out because
It's not just that though, was it? It was to help Kieran out as well to try and boost him.
of course it was, but ultimately it's as Kieran is aware and so are we. If we can potentially help somebody that wants to get something anyway, so say for instance, if you were going to spend £1,500 for argument's sake, I don't know the exact cost, probably be less than that, but if you were going to spend £1,500 on a security system for your property, and you quote JBK10 and it's £1,500, you saved £150 just by quoting our podcast.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? So it does add up. And Kieran did also do a big giveaway at one of the start of his sponsorship where he gave out basically a free security system, didn't he? Worth over, I think it was what, £750?
It was £1,000, wasn't it?
1,000.
So you got £750 worth of
Oh, it was
equipment,
250
and then
extras,
you had the extras, yeah.
Yeah, so make sure you go and check him out, guys, if you're wanting that. But like I say, I just think going back to the Josh's original question at the top of the podcast, I think when he was saying, how do you think sort of our mental health and how we share has come about? I do think off podcast and off live, I think we've also improved.
Yeah.
I do think, like I say, maybe it might just be me, but you might all think the same. But I do feel as though doing the podcast and learning to sort of put yourself out there in front of people has helped us personally as well. Like alluded to before, that basically I just love the fact that we're also open with each other occasionally. There's sometimes obviously where stuff does need to stay private for a period of time, but
Yeah.
I do like that between us sort of nothing is really off the table. It doesn't matter, and it's going to sound gross, but it doesn't matter if you've got a ration somewhere where you can't see. You could come to any one of us and say, can you fucking have a look at this? I don't know what it is. As much as there might be the occasional joke or whatever, if it was serious to the point, it'd be a case of, right, well, sure, we need to look. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the sort of level that we're all at now, and I do think that the podcast has helped us with that. I don't know how you feel on it.
Yeah, it's helped massively. It's crazy when you look back. Like obviously, when I look back, how bad I was like a couple of years ago, like depression and all that kind of stuff, and I was in this dark hole and debt and all this kind of stuff. And look at myself now.
Sorry, mate, don't worry.
Look at myself now. I'm like, how could I have why did I let myself get that bad?
Because when you're in a hole, mate, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So when you're looking into the abyss, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, Josh has come in with another question. For those of you that are unaware and those of you that are listening on Spotify, Josh is another co-host on the podcast. He is currently away working, but he is still making sure he's tuning in. In your own mind, how do you think it has progressed? It has progressed the other two hosts for better or for worse. I'm thinking he's asking me about you and him, and he
Possibly, I'm not sure.
Well, if you're asking me about you and Kia, the other two hosts, better or worse, I think in stages it's better and in stages it's worse, and I'll explain on that. So for me, I think all of us outside of the podcast, I do think that both, right? So in my opinion, I do think when we go live on the podcast, I think it can sometimes have a worse effect, but then outside the podcast, it's better. I'll explain the better first. So when we're off camera, I think us being so open on camera helps us behind closed doors, as in, like I say, Kia's alluded to at the top of the podcast, there's some personal things going on. Obviously, we are aware, but he's vocal with it with us. Do you know what I mean? And because of that, that's going to potentially help him grow, help him, beat it or whatever. And I think the same for you, Josh. Like I say, you've come round mine a few times, and we've had massive long chats, whether it's about business or problems or women or Kia or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That we do talk regular. I knew you'd clock that one.
What did he say?
Did he say? But no, I do think the better one is definitely because we're off the podcast. I do think it's helped us outside the podcast. On the podcast, I think because we're all so comfortable now, I think Kia sometimes forms into a shell and lets me and you run the podcast because he doesn't sometimes. He's a good thinker when he's not off the cuff. So if Kia has to prepare lines, he'd be able to read 20 pages of A4 if he remembered it. But if you were to say, make something up, he'd go blank. And I think that then sometimes comes into, like I say, Josh, I think you joked with him the other week about doing the intro, and he actually remembered a lot of it, but because it was off the cuff, even though he knows it, he stumbled like at blocks, whereas I'm the complete opposite. I need to run off the cuff. I cannot sit and read paper. Just give me a blank sheet and I'll fill it. Whereas us being so engaging off the podcast, I think has a negative and a positive effect on all of us in certain ways. I don't know how you feel on it, Jackie. I don't know what your sort of thing is. To say, for instance, me or Josh or whatever. I don't know what your sort of opinion would be. And be careful because I am giving you a lift home. No, I'm joking.
No, obviously, well, it's like before the podcast even started. Like, obviously, me and you spoke all the time.
Yeah.
Went out quite a lot.
It didn't really change us.
But no,
me
but
and you, did it?
it did to me because obviously, yeah, we weren't as close as we are.
No.
Obviously, back then I didn't open up to you as much as I do now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same as Josh. Do you know what I mean? It's like me and Josh. We've always been mates. We've always spoke to each other when we've seen each other. But then it's like when before the podcast, I wouldn't even think about like speaking to him like through Messenger or anything like or Snapchat or whatever like that. But like now, it's like I speak to him pretty much every day or every other day. So we've got this like bond between the three of us now.
I definitely agree with that, Pete. 100%. I do think I agree with that 100%. So Josh has said, obviously this one's about me, so reading it about me might be a bit different. He has let his wall down just enough to let us help more and tells us everything sooner, good and bad. Definitely has a better look on life, such as his faith in God and not letting things he can't control get him down. So for me, on a personal level, before I go to yours, Keir, that is 100% right for me. So for me, and Josh, so me and Josh spoke about this once. You actually weren't there, wasn't? So I'd asked Josh and I'd said, "What's my problem?" And he'd said overthinking, but then he actually changed his mind when I explained what I thought it was. My problem always was I always used to subconsciously think I'm surrounded by idiots when I'm not. I probably was the idiot in the room. Do you know what I mean? But there's something in my head that just always tells me that I'm meant for better. And I don't, and that's why I try so hard to bring all my friends up with me that I want, because I don't want to be the person that you see makes it, but they're on their own because they've sacked
Yeah.
everyone off. Do you know what I mean? So I think that was a problem of mine.
That's like that, don't it? It's like, you know, you want to bring the people up with you to celebrate with you when you make it, because if you sack them all off and you make it, you've got no one around you, then, have you?
But that's, I'll be honest, that's not the reason for me to
No,
do it.
no, I know that, but it's, you know what I mean.
I've explained this to my dad, and my dad explained it, and Josh, I've actually got to give Josh a lot of credit for me personally, because I spoke to him about this recently when me and my dad had a chat. Wasn't a necessarily good one, but he said to me, it's like a family legacy thing. And I went, watch it. He was always throwing this word around like legacy, and I just never understood what he meant by it because you can't explain it. And he just said, you are meant to bring people with you, because I've had to do it. And I went, how? What do you mean? Like, I'd never understood it. And he's like, whether it's work, whether it's friendship, whether it's business or whatever, you just seem like it's like there's too much going on in my head for the way I can compute. So it's like I need to sometimes just say it or do something or whatever, or be a bit sporadic or whatever.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury actually said it most. He said, you'll see, special people need to sometimes be sporadic, lunatic, and all the rest of it. But then you'll see a genius with like an IQ of 140 and think, Jesus Christ, there's something wrong with that guy. And that's the way I felt. When he explained that, Fury, that literally put it in perspective for me with everything. Because I thought, I know there's something not 100% right with me. I don't know what it is, whether it's slight autism or ADHD or ADD, or there's something there that I can never switch off. I just can't. There's something in my head that just is pushing me to make it.
Yeah.
And I will make it, and I'll drag all of yous up. And I can honestly say with Josh, my faith has definitely helped. 100% has chilled me out. It's almost like, let me not worry about stuff I can't control, because that was always my biggest fear. And I can actually vouch for you here, Keir, as well. He's got a lot, mate. So Josh has said that Keir's good and bad, or whatever it was, has got a lot more confident with talking about issues, but he has a lot further to go with coming out of his shell, but he's getting there. I agree with that. I can agree with that. I think is a lot better at this stage than I thought he would be. I knew he would get there eventually because you are who you surround yourself with, aren't you?
Yeah.
And we surround ourselves with each other every week. So there's going to be your tendencies that rub off on me. There's going to be Josh's that rub off on you. And
I don't know whether my tendencies rubbing off on you is good or bad.
well, either or. It's once again, you are who you surround yourself with, aren't you? Good or bad. You might pick
Oh,
up.
yeah.
I might pick up a bad trait of yours. You might pick up a bad trait of mine. But I can't. You've got to look at it and go, is it bad or is it good, or do you just discard the bad or discard the good? Do you know what I mean? It's whatever you look at it. But I will definitely agree with Josh there and say 100%. Yeah, it's the same old saying, Josh, or that year-old saying, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. 100%. So for me, which I've not spoke about yet, but it's only been 2 or 3 weeks, my circle's got even smaller. I'm not mentioning names. My circle shrunk massively again.
I'll ask about that when we finish the podcast.
To the point where you can only help somebody who wants to help themselves. So it gets to the point now where it's like, right, how much effort and time are you going to waste on a person that is not willing to help themselves? And it's not giving up. I don't like that term where you're giving up on them.
You're not giving up on the person because you'll always be there for them if they need it. But you can only push them so far, and then they'll have to take the reins themselves.
But that was my issue. And it's almost like it sometimes feels like I'm trying to stop myself going back to that type of person.
I understand where you're coming from because that's how you used to be. Because you've done it with me years ago. And then you finally turned around and said, look, I've helped you the best I can, sort it out yourself.
But that was one of my issues, do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even have stuff together myself. So I was giving out advice that I wasn't even following.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like me. I'd give out advice on the way someone should do something or go about something, but then I'm not doing it myself.
Yeah, so Kaylee said, the closer your circle, the better. There's only so much you can do. I agree with.
Yeah.
But I also think on the flip side of that, there is how do I phrase it? My circle was small anyway, but as impending fatherhood has hit me like, I won't say a ton of bricks because I'm still relaxed and I will be relaxed because that's just my nature. But
until he pops out and
no, but I'll still be, you know me, like.
No.
It's just a case of, is it going to be the best day of my life? Too right it is. But once again, it sounds, I'm comparing, I mean, the fact I'm even going to compare it to this sounds ridiculous, but I said this to Moll about the England and the World Cup. Everyone else was caught up in England fever, apart from me, because I said, we're not there yet. When we've won the trophy, or when we're in the final and we're 3-0 up after, and there's only 5 minutes left, then celebrate, because you finish line then, you're over it, Don't sing, well, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and that's the same as with me. He's not here yet. I can't wait for him to be here. The second he's here, and then it'll hit me where all the pressure, the stress will probably release with emotion. I'll be crying like a little girl, but I'll be happy that because.
Or when you're in the delivery room and Beth's squeezing your hand saying she's going to kill you.
That's fine. She tells me that regular every morning, mate. But I can. Well, my circle got even smaller in like the past 2-3 weeks, and it to the point where, like you said, though. Whereas me a few years back, I'd have been dead caught up on it, like, oh my God, still trying and trying. Now, I don't try with them anymore. If they want to message me, message me. If they want me to go out, we'll go out. If we want to do anything, I'm there. I mean,
same as me,
I ain't chasing anymore because I'm sick to the back teeth of trying to help people that don't want to help themselves. And it's the same old story, and I refuse to do it now. And I've become a mini master at it, but it's even more so recently.
It's like me. It's like, like you just said, I'll text you if you text me. It works both ways. Do you know what I mean? You want to know what I'm doing? Text me. Don't then turn around and say next month, or I've not heard of you. How you doing? Well, you've got a phone on you. You've got Facebook.
To a point, I agree with that.
Yeah, but it's like,
if me and you just lost contact, and it's for 2 months, it's only you ever texting me, and then you stop. That's not your fault. That's my fault because I'm not reciprocating.
Because you've not replied.
Or no, I'll still reply, but why is it always you first? Like, you shouldn't. I'm that person. I'm always with certain people the first person. I'm always, what are you doing? Are you doing this? Right, I'll send you this. Or have you done this? And I'm like, why am I interested in their life? Like, I'm not bothered. Like, but it's just because I care about the
Yeah.
person
Oh
and I
yeah.
want to bring them up. It's to the point now
But
where I can't do it.
it's like, you know, you got to bring them up, but are they going to let go of the weights that are holding them down
No,
to bring them up? No, they're not, because they're comfortable
which
and
is
and they like it where they are. But it's like you said, a lot of people don't like change.
no. You've
You
got
know,
to embrace change, and it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
it's like me when I was obviously in the job I'm doing now. Before, when I was on the tools, and you said just go for it, and I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
You said just go for it, and you'll realise that you've done it for the better, not just financially, but for your own state of mind.
But and I can credit this person for this, and I'll never forget it. Doesn't matter how much we speak or don't speak. I've got to credit Dale for that with me, because Dale was the only person at the time. And as much as we're not as close as we were, we grow up, we grow apart. We've had our fallouts. He'll always hold a special place in my heart just for what he did for me when we were younger. So I went into that job at the sex shop, and he was the only person out of everybody that I'd told that was literally sat down, didn't laugh, and didn't not believe me, and just said, just go for it. Same as what I've then laid on to you, you see, because I was the proof. So because it's come from a place of I can sit there and say that because I've done it, I can actually then give you the proper advice because I've then followed my own advice as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas previous, I was giving advice out and not even following it myself,
No, exactly.
which was my issue. And Josh has said basically a door can be open from both sides. You can't move someone who's made of stone. That's a cracker. That I've got to be honest, that is a cracker because I'm realizing a lot of childhood friends are made of stone, and a lot of people in this town are made of stone. So it's sometimes like do you let your environment trap you, or do you just go? And I'm gonna motion something for Facebook now. Do you go wash your hands with it?
It's one of them, you know. It's down to you. You know, you can wash your hands with it, or you can keep trying. But if you keep trying, you know, fine well, you're just going to go around in the same circle.
And then I do think though that causes resentment in the long run.
Yeah.
Because I've had it, and I bet you people have been resentful with me. My dad's probably one of them. Dad and my stepmom for ages and ages telling me do this, do that, and then I used to think, oh, they're only telling me this just because oh, they're old, they don't get it. Next thing you know, when you actually do it yourself and you sit back, and it's hard to say to somebody you were right and I was wrong, because then that way I think
Nobody likes to own up to that, though, did he? No one. Doesn't matter who you are.
it's weird now.
No one will own up to it. Turn around and say, "You were right. I was wrong. I apologise."
It's weird now because I seek that.
That's fair enough.
So it's weird now, but it's took me to, because I was the same, mate. I was the same as everybody else. No one likes to admit they're wrong. Oh, I'm right about everything, and that was what Josh said about that paragraph before.
It's like not all women, but certain women. They don't own up. They won't own up to if they've done something wrong. They won't apologise. They'll turn around and make you think that you've done something wrong, so then you apologise. But then it's them.
Yes. So what's that guy called on Facebook? He's like a Spanish or Hispanic guy, but he's sort of doing the same thing Andrew Tate's done. You've probably seen him on TikTok anywhere. He reviews these videos of girls and then say, so who wants to improve more, men or women?
No, I have seen it.
And then he goes around the table and goes, what do you rate yourself out of 10? And every one of them said like a 9.5 or a 10.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how does that make any sense? And she's like, what do you mean? And he goes, you're saying that women, yourself, want to improve more than a male. How can you improve past a 10? And she goes, and he's like, and it's the same thing. It's not just women though. It is for everybody. It's males do it, but what I found is males tend to lie more and actually know the truth, whereas sometimes women, I've seen it, Beth sometimes doesn't even know the truth, but she's actively trying to not cause anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like men will actively lie to make their life easier. Is it wrong? Of course it's wrong. Do I agree with it?
Look,
No.
at times it's wrong, but at times it could be right.
Depends on the
Yeah,
lie, doesn't it?
depends on the situation.
Like if my missus says to me, "Did you hoover the house?"
You'd say yeah, but you didn't, to make it easier. So
Depending on the mood, you judge it, wouldn't you? So she came in and she's had a bad day at work, and I've judged that movement from her. Say, she goes, "Have you hoovered the house?" If I say no, I'm going to cause a kick-off, and she's going to be fuming. So I'll actively, and I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. I'll occasionally white lie about it, and then that she goes, "Oh, good." And then that's it. It's avoided then. And it comes back to that same old saying, if you were out round town and a lass has either asked for your number or come over, what would you say? Do you say to potentially cause a fuss or don't you? Because for me, I always say, that's one of my principal rules with her. I'll always tell her if a lass has came up and asked for my number or asked me if I'm single or tried to touch me or
But
whatever.
that's out of respect, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also could be my life could be easier by not saying anything.
Well,
It doesn't
yeah.
mean anything to me, but then if you lie about it and it comes out, it then seems like a whole other thing that shouldn't even
Which
be there.
is understandable. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I've done it in the past. I've not turned around and said, "Oh, yeah, I'm single." Every time I've turned around and said, "No, I've got a missus and a baby at home, or a missus and a toddler at home. Not interested."
But this is what, and then it also comes back to
And then they turn around and get arsey because you've basically refused them. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Fuck off.
well, the thing is though, it comes down to that your internal fortitude as well, doesn't it? It comes down to everything, and I think this podcast and in general has made us individually better people. I'd like to hope so anyway,
Yeah.
because I've noticed a change myself. I'm a lot more open with the people that I need to be with, and I never used to tell anyone anything at all.
Not the same as me.
It'd be very occasional. Whereas, like I said, as yourself, Josh, like I said, there's a few others. I won't mention names just in case, but there's a few others that I will, and there's a few that I won't. But like I say, a few of the people that I would have, I'm now distancing myself from because I'm realizing they're going to stay in a rut for their entire life. They're going to do the same thing, moan about the same stuff, the same thing.
Big issue.
every
A big issue with certain people. Obviously, I can't exactly name names because there's a couple of people that we both know. It's
Yeah.
one of the big issues is money or
Do you think that?
stability.
Can I ask just quickly before we dovetail off that? Do you think it's a money issue or is it an issue of the unknown?
It's a bit of both because it's like, there's people I know that they earn roughly the same as me, and it's like, and I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? There's times where I've come to you and asked to borrow like 20,
Yeah,
30 quid.
we've all
whatever,
been there, haven't we?
but it's like fucking, it's like they get paid, and then yeah, they've sorted out what bill money and stuff like that, whatever. But then they always make sure that they have money to go to the pub, but they don't have money for like gas, electric, food,
Or paying off debts.
or paying your debts off.
That was my big thing. Because so for me, don't mind quickly saying at the end of before we end the podcast, mine was
Don't have to end it yet, mate. I'm in no rush.
no, it's not that. I think we usually run for an hour. It's more just a space on the Spotify. If I'm being honest, mate, the upload takes forever. My thing is, and I've been paying £400 a month off my debt for well,
7
it's
years.
been 10 years that I've been paying me debt, right? October the 28th, my big one's gone. And then that's pretty much it. I'm £400-500 a month better off. And I've been literally making, so the second I get paid, that goes. And I can still cover everything else. And I can still pay for the house. And I can still pay all the bills. And don't get me wrong, I've chased money to do that. But then I'm like, right, I'm trying to push those people to do the same thing I'm doing. Chase the money for a bit. You don't like it. No one. Chasing the money made me depressed.
It makes everyone depressed.
Like clinically depressed, where I was supposed to be on tablets and everything. So to the point where it's like, I don't want to encourage anyone to go and do that. But then when there's no other option, I'm like, sometimes you need to sacrifice your mental health to go and get better financial stability. Whether that's paying your debt off, you just need to go and do it.
No, exactly.
But then I was invested in that person's personal circumstance, so I'm pushing them and egging them and trying to do it.
But then that's when you get wrapped in.
I know.
You get wrapped in it.
And then when they don't do it, that's when it's like, oh, I'm just wasting my time. And then that's when the resentment comes in because it's coming from a good place. But all it is basically just sort of resentment. You know what I mean? In the end. But like I say, this episode, this episode's just been a bit of a random one. Massive shout out to all you guys in the comments for your questions. You've kept us going. probably longer than we thought we were going to, as in with questions and answers and all the rest of it. But yeah, want to give a massive shout out to all you guys that have joined us live on Facebook tonight. Massive shout out to all you guys listening on Spotify. We cannot forget our sponsors. We got Lakeside Fire and Security, we have Northwest Plumbing and Heating, we've got TNT Records, and we also have Transform Physique Gym. I've been one half of the JBK podcast today, Ben Coleman. To my left, we've got the beautiful Kia McCart, K-Mac, and massive shout out to Josh, who has stayed pretty much the entire podcast asking questions, who is usually a host of the JBK podcast. Massive shout out to Kaylee, who has stayed. Massive shout out to all you guys for supporting the podcast continuously. And we will be back at some point next week. We do not know yet. Make sure you join follow our socials to find out, as we want to pay our respects to the Queen. So we will be back.
Massive shout out to Tony Coleman as well. Every week comes one without fail and always calls us a lesbian.
Well, it's support is support, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
That is us from the JBK, and we'll see you when we see you. Peace.